Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of TEVAdrive, and this time around we are driving the brand new 2023 BMW i7 60 xDrive. This is not quite the top of the line. It is top of the line right now, but there will be another model, the 70M, which will be above it. For now, this is the top of the line, the flagship of the BMW electric lineup. It is a sedan, of course, and as you can see, quite impressive proportions of this car when put next to an EQS, Taycan, Audi e-tron GT, even the Lucid or even Tesla Plaid. The size of this car is quite impressive. It's a very large, very long and tall car compared to most of the other electric sedans. You can see right now this is next to its brother, the iX. And you can see it's quite tall, not a huge difference in height between the iX and the i7. So, to go back to the specs of this car, this is obviously an all-wheel drive car, 540 horsepower approximately, all-wheel drive, with the battery size of about just around 110 kilowatt hours usable. And we'll tell you about the experiences of the our various test drives. This is a winter test, so we were able to test it under winter conditions, in snowstorms, lots of snow, cold weather, about -5 the last drive. So this is our third DC session on this car. The first one we conducted was which we posted on our Facebook page, was between 75 to 95%, which took exactly half an hour, and the top speed at that point was 44 kilowatts, which basically, even though we preheated the battery, we only got maximum of 44 kilowatts speed on the car. Our second DC session, which was yesterday in Barrie, was between 15% all the way to about 70%, and that also took around half an hour with a top speed of around 140. Because we preheated battery in every case before the arrival by setting the destination in the car navigation to the fast charger, the battery was preheated and it started right away at 140 kilowatts. This is our third session. We started just around 50%, and this is the 350 kilowatt machine. The last two sessions we were not able to use the 350 machines because they were occupied. Today is the first time we're using the 350 kilowatt machine, and around 50%, the car started at 140 kilowatts right away. We can go to the charger and see what speed we're getting right now and what percentage we're at. We are now at 68%, and it's slowed down to 108 kilowatts. So again, the charging curve is not as good as our Audi e-tron, which is capable of maintaining the top speed, which is 150, all the way up to 80% state of charge. So here, as you can see, the ramp, it started slowing down, ramping down the speed of charging around likely just over 60%, and then we're down to 105 at 52%. We're basically gonna probably stop around 80%. As you know, beyond 80%, it's kind of pointless to continue because it slows right down. So we'll see how long it takes. Let us tell you a little bit about, before we give you our driving impressions and take you for a test drive, we want to tell you a little bit about the statistics. Well, I just opened the trunk by mistake because I put my foot under the trunk, which is fine. We're just gonna close it again. This car would be competing against the likes of the EQS, which we test drove recently and would love to compare it. And then when we go for a drive, we'll tell you all about our comparisons with the EQS. We also test drove recently the Lucid Air Grand Touring performance. So we're going to talk about comparison with that car. And then, of course, with the Tesla Model S is another possibility. And there's really no other, the Audi did not come out with an electric sedan, luxury sedan of the equivalent of the A8 yet. So basically, it's down to Mercedes and BMW, and this car is meant to primarily compete with the Mercedes EQS 580. And then when the 70 model above it comes with over 600 horsepower, then it's going to compete with the AMG 53 EQS, which will have even more horsepower. The strange thing about the model naming by BMW is that this is called i760, and it has 540 horses, whereas the iX60 has over 600 horsepower. So we're not sure why they chose to call it the 60. However, you know, that's the way it's called. And then again, the model above it will be called the 70 for some reason. Okay, so let's tell you about our statistics. But before we do that, we're going to give you the tour of the interior of the car, some of the ingenious features which are unique to this model. No other EV has those features inside. And then we'll tell you about the statistics of the consumption and the winter range once we take you for a drive. Okay, so let's jump in and take you for a drive. All right, so we are now inside the BMW i760 xDrive. And we wanted to show you the front.
Unfortunately, I could not find. Where would you like to go to?
Cancel.
All right.
Okay, so as you can see, we were interrupted by the verbal system, voice system of this car once we mentioned the B word, and the system got confused. So we are inside the BMW i760 xDrive. Let's just get out of this, and we don't want any verbal commands for now. We'll demonstrate them later. So as you can see, the dashboard looks exactly the same as in the i4, iX, etc. And now this dashboard is also offered in the gas cars. You may also know that the i7 is basically in a full electric version of the gas version of the 7 Series. So right now they just launched the i760 and also the 760i, which is a V8 gas-powered version, and then this being the full electric version. We mentioned previously that in this car they offer the 110 roughly excuse me, kilowatt-hour battery, and which is kind of very similar to the Mercedes EQS. And the horsepower rating for this car is approximately 540 horses, which is less than the iX60 that we test drove recently, which offers over 600 horsepower. So no, we're not sure why they call this one i760. There will be another model above it, which will be the i770M, which will then offer over 600 horsepower, but that car has not been launched yet. So what we can tell you right now about the interior, that besides the main screen here where you can see that we won't be repeating all the features because they are identical to the iX and the i4. You have the turning knob here, which operates here. You can also swipe and control it this way. You can turn on the Android Auto this way very quickly. We turn down the sound, so we go back to the main menu. This is the consumption. You can keep it on that screen. And we just drove about 175 kilometers from Midland all the way here on the 400 and 401. The average consumption today was 27 in efficiency mode. In the sport mode, the car will use over 30. So in order to get the 400 kilometer range in the winter, you really have to keep it in efficiency. You can still use middle to left lane speed following traffic. In that respect, and then you will be able to achieve below 28 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which then will allow you to travel 400 kilometers, even over 400 kilometers in the winter. Today the temperature was -5, so it wasn't overly cold. cold. Of course, the lower the temperature, the shorter your range will be. We anticipated this car in the summer should be able to drive close to 500 kilometers, which is basically what the iX50 is capable of. So other than that, you basically have the two cup holders here. You have the phone charger, the wireless charging pad right here in the front. You have your start-stop button. You have your crystal gear shifter, RNDB. So basically, in order to get, just like all the other BMWs, to get the full one-pedal driving mode, you have to put the car in B. You have this crystal a little knob via which you can operate the center screen. Here you have the crystal volume button up and down. You have your scan back and forth for the entertainment. You have my modes. So as you can see here, personal, sport, efficient, expressive, relax, digital art. So if you press digital art, this changes the look of the car. Everything goes kind of purple. It's kind of interesting. The sunroof just opened automatically. You have the other modes. Then the theater mode will demonstrate later, because you have to be in the back seat to enjoy the full theater mode. The relax mode is again a specific mode that includes massage. Expressive mode has yet again. Right now it started massaging my seat. The color of the LED strips changed, and by the way, the strips are much thicker and they are like crystal size throughout the front of the car here, but also on the doors on the side. So there you get much more color for ambiance than all the other electric cars, which only have the thin strips of the LEDs in front. So if you go back to my modes, the expressive, we're right now in the expressive mode. We have the efficient mode, which basically is, if you want to extend your range, this is the mode you should use. I changed to the efficient mode, but I'm still getting the seat massage. So now I have to go into the massage seat menu and turn off the massage, or I can just ask the car verbally to turn it off. But for now, I'll just leave it on. So again, to go back to the modes, once you choose the sport mode, again it changes. And the color, that's fine, it's activated. It tells you that it's going to disconnect certain safety features. Then your LEDs go in the M colors, red and blue. So you have red in the center, blue on the sides, which are the M colors, the M division colors. And then the sound system. So you will hear once we go for a test drive, you'll hear the amazing sounds that the sport mode makes, composed by Hans Zimmer, of course. And each mode has a different sound. The loudest one being, of course, in the sport mode. So if you keep going through the modes, just personal mode. This you can basically decide, personalize your settings. And just use it there. The car will start in a normal mode, so I'm not sure whether this would be it does not start in sport or efficient. Basically, it'll start in normal mode as a default. So if you want to change it, then you have to change it. There's most likely a way through the menus to program your preferred default mode, but otherwise it just starts in the normal mode. Right now we're almost done. We're at 99%, so we're gonna disconnect the car and we're gonna take you for a test drive. But before we do that, we're gonna show you the back seat and the amazing features of the back of the car. Before we go to the back, I wanna show you the buttons here. There are some buttons here: your max front defrost, the emergency hazard lights, the rear defroster, and open the glove compartment. So these are haptic touch buttons. I had difficulty activating while driving the hazard lights, and I had difficulty pressing the rear defroster. I had to press it a few times. So these are not physical buttons, these are haptic touch buttons. So I would prefer personally just regular buttons for that. You have the sliders here for climate. you can adjust the strength of the blower, and then you adjust the direction of the air using these rollers here, which are again different than all the other BMWs that we tested. So right now we're at 0. Here again, you have the slider to adjust the strength of the fan, and you can direct the air by using this roller here. Same on either side of the car. You have the seat controls, the crystal controls on the side of the car here to control your seat. You have the seat memory, lock unlock. You have all your window functions, mirror adjustments, usual. There's 3 ways to open the doors. Number 1 way is to press this button here at the bottom, and then all it does, it just pops the door open, okay? The second way to open the car, and by the way, of course, the car is equipped with soft close. Second way to automatically open it up is this button here, and then it actually opens the door all the way. The doors have the sensors automatically. As you can see, it flashed red LED, meaning that it sensed an obstacle and it stopped short of fully opening. Okay, so to close the door, again, you just press this button and it gets closed. So that's the second way to open and close your door. And finally, the third way is a manual, which a lot of people will enjoy. There's a handle here, a manual handle at the bottom underneath. If you pull it, it just is a normal handle where you will open it. There you go, 3 ways to open and close your doors, which is nice to have a manual backup. A lot of people will prefer that, but you're supposed to be using one of those 2 buttons. All right, so that's about it for the front of the car. And let me jump in the back and demonstrate the fabulous theater mode and the screen in the back with the lounge seat. Okay, so stay with us. Let's jump in the back. We are now sitting in the back of the BMW i7 60xDrive. And as you can see, it's quite spacious. It's a limousine sized car, and what we want to show you is the doors here also can be operated in 3 different ways, 3 different buttons. This upper button here will open the door automatically all the way, subject to the sensors, of course, sensing an obstacle. The second button is right here to just manually pop it open, and then third one is fully manual. There's a handle here. If you just grab it, you can open it manually here. So again, just like the front doors, you have 3 ways, 1, 2, and 3 to open the door. You have your controls for your climate and entertainment and everything in the seat, including the massage. Of course, the seats are massaged, heated, cooled, and massaged. And right now I'm getting a massage because because of the last mode that we set in the front. So everything is controlled through these little micro screens, which are about the size of your more or less of your cell phone. By the way, there is a wireless charging pad for your cell phone here with 2 cup holders, and there's more storage here with 2 USB ports right there. And then you also have your USB charging ports here, believe it or not, and another one on the other side for the other passenger. Of course, when you fold the seat up, so this is a 5-seater, if you fold it up, so now to close it, you basically just push this whole thing up and you close it, and this is the way it goes. Then you can have 3 people in the back. So you unfold it, and again, you basically, I have to figure out how to open this thing. Oh, there's a button here. No, that's for this one. To open okay, anyways, there's a way to do it. There we go. You press this button and then it goes forward, and you get access to the 2 cup holders. The seats don't go down in the i7, so basically you only have the pass-through, which is right there. So you just pull down the cover, and then you can have access for skis or long items to the trunk. When we do the walk around the car, we'll show you the size of the trunk. It's a very decent size trunk. But before we do that, we want to show you the 2 things. Number 1, we're gonna turn on the lounge mode. So you go on you have the various things on the menu. Your entertainment is right here: Fire TV, telephone, display, my mode, seats, blinds, and light. So we'll go to the seat mode. And you can see this little sign, position 1, position 2, set, reset, and you have this little thing that looks like a bed. Of course, you have the massage menu and then the climate menu. We're already getting the massage, so we're not gonna go, but all the massage menus are through here. So we're gonna just press on the bed, and then you can see right away the lounge seat, which is only available on this side, only on the passenger, the right hand side in the back, not on the left. You will see why in a moment, because the front seat moves all the way to the front, and then the seat unfolds properly for you to be traveling in luxury with your legs stretched, and you'll be able to watch a movie in a very, very comfortable position while being massaged. And you can do that while driving, of course, as long as your driver doesn't mind. So you can see that seat is going forward. You can still see that it's still getting adjusted here. The circle keeps going, so it's not ready quite yet. Now you're supposed to put your feet up here. Hey BMW, sorry, cancel. Basically, you know, you have to put your dirty feet up on the front seat. And right now we have reached the final position of the seat. So as you can see, it's very comfortable, and I'm a pretty tall guy, you know, 190 centimeters or 6'4", and I can stretch my legs and travel in full comfort. So that's number one. If you get bored traveling in full comfort, you can ask the car to enter another exciting mode. So let me try and do that by using the verbal commands. Hey BMW. Hey BMW. Enter theater mode.
Sure, I will activate the theater mode.
And as you can see, basically what happened was the blinds were closed, both in the roof and in the windows and in the back, and the screen went down. And you can watch your YouTube, Netflix, Crave, Prime Video, App Store, etc., etc. You can watch your own movies. So my only reservation to this mode, which is quite nice, is that once the screen is down and the blind is up in the back, the driver cannot see through the rear view mirror. So what would have made sense, and this is my suggestion to BMW, install one of those digital mirrors, which could be a regular mirror, or with a flip of a switch it becomes a computer screen connected to the rear camera, just like in the Chevy Bolt. And this way the driver will have the full benefit of being able to use the middle mirror. Right now, as it stands, you know, you can only use the side mirrors. And I did not find a way I was trying to activate the rear camera while driving. That did not work. Maybe there's a way, so if some of you have experienced it and you know how to do it, let me know. Otherwise, my suggestion to BMW, the simplest thing would be with a switch on the mirror, switch it to the digital center mirror, and then you can have use the central mirror over there for rear view connected to the rear camera. That would make the most sense in my opinion. In terms of the climate controls, you have all the climate controls here. You also have obviously the B-pillar and the center armrest. So everything is controlled through here, except you have the direction of the air. You direct it through here, and then on-off rollers are here. That's the storage we did not show you, but that's a storage that for the front passenger and driver that has 2 USB ports there as well. And that's basically it. So I mean, how cool is that, right? You can watch while driving or while being driven. You know, you can watch movies, you know, listen to the music on this amazing 32-inch screen in the back. So that makes it quite a bit different than any other luxury EV in this price range, including Tesla Model Plaid, Mercedes EQS, Lucid Air, Grand Touring, and any of the other cars in a similar price range. Also, of course, the Audi e-tron GT and Porsche Taycan, which are much smaller, we took a picture and we posted on our Facebook page of this car right next to Audi e-tron GT, which is the same size as the Porsche Taycan, and it's massive. This car is massive in comparison with those two cars. So and it's also much more comfortable, much larger than the Mercedes EQS. Because of that, it doesn't have quite the range and efficiency of the EQS because of its shape, but you know, you still have 400-kilometer range in the winter, so it's very decent, and you have much more space. We felt really tight in the Taycan and the e-tron GT Duo, and even in the EQS, there's space for the headroom in the back was quite tight. No such issues here in the BMW i7. Very spacious, very comfortable, and this amazing screen for your entertainment while driving. So that's about it. We're gonna take you around the car to show you the outside features of the car, and then we'll take you for a quick spin, a test drive to demonstrate the various driving modes. We drove in this deep snow with our, not ours, the BMW i7 that we got so graciously from BMW Canada. BMW i7 60 xDrive, and we just want to give you a quick walk around before we take you on a quick spin and give you the feedback on our driving impressions. So basically, the only way you can differentiate the i7 from the 760, which were launched at the same time, 760 is the gas version, i7 is the full electric version, is this grille. You have in the 760 you have an open grille, in the i7 you have a closed up grille, and in both cars you have all the sensor suite right here. Here's your front camera, and there's a camera washer which also washes the front sensors. Okay, then you have down here, up here you have the DRLs, daylight running lights, which are LEDs, and then down below you have the two regular lights for your high beams and low beams, which are laser lights in the front. This is the M package on the car, so it's slightly more aggressive. Of course, this is a two-tone car. We'll pop the hood for you to show you, but there's nothing underneath. There is no frunk in this car, but we'll pop the hood anyways to show you. Let me do that. Maybe let's do it first. So let me pop the hood so you can have a look inside. So let's show you what's under here. Basically, as opposed to the iX, which has the washer fluid filler here under the logo, this car has the washer filler cap under the hood, which is right there. You see the blue thing over there. Other than that, there's no usable storage space. It's all electronics, motors, etc. Okay, so that's about it for the frunk, non-existent frunk. So we can't call it a frunk, it's just a hood. Let's close it up and continue our walk around to show you the winter wheels. So these are 21-inch rims. They are staggered, and they are two 55s in the front, and they are 265s, slightly wider in the back. For the summer rims, you get 22s, and they are much wider as well. But these are Pirelli P0 winter tires, and you will see in the back. So we're gonna keep the door open because otherwise the car locks and stops the heating. It's a very cold day today, so we wanna make sure that the car stays warm for us. And in the back, the size, I believe it's slightly wider, which is again different for winter and different for summer. Anyway, they are staggered 21-inch rims. This particular version, they put a 21-inch rims for the winter. Let's show you the back of the car. Again, it looks exactly the same like the 760. You have the i7 logo here, xDrive 60 on this side. You can open the trunk by pressing this button, or you swipe your foot if it's gonna work. Again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, so let's just press the button. And here's a substantial trunk with a pass-through that we showed you from the inside. And there's a little bit more space under here. This is where all the cables are, right there under the floor. So that's about it. Let's close it up. Let's jump inside and finally take you for a spin. We forgot to show you the very important part of the car, which is the charge port. It's on the right rear of the car, and you have your AC and DC. So your AC, they both have covers, and there's a little light here that shows you at night. It's very helpful. And this one has a cover too. So this is your CCS, and this is your level 2. The charge port is quite deep. So when it's snowing, yesterday though the car was sitting outside in a snowstorm, it was full of snow. So I had to do a lot of clearing before I disconnected the car. So hopefully one of these days, one of the manufacturers will come up with an idea maybe of a cover that comes out above the charge port to prevent the snow and ice and rain from going inside. But for now, we just have to manually clean it. We just had an issue with our Audi where the charge port froze and it actually broke. We may have to replace the charge port on our Audi. So stay tuned for that. We'll have more details about it another time. Let's jump in and go for a drive. All right, so here we are about to take you on a spin of the 2023 BMW i7 60xDrive, very long name. And we're gonna start in the efficiency mode. So as you can see now we're just in normal mode. The LEDs are in kind of a brownish beigey color. We're gonna go to my modes. Let's just turn off this and put it in the consumption screen. My modes is right here. And we're gonna put it in efficient. So the LEDs change color into light blue. Pretty cool. Of course you can change that. And now it actually went brown in the middle and blue on the sides. And we'll go back to the main screen right here. And let's start. So basically B mode. In the B mode, the car is stopped. You can start the car. If you let off the gas, it stops. That's the one pedal driving. If you don't like the one pedal driving, you put it in regular D and then it creeps forward. Okay, so whatever you prefer, then it feels like a normal automatic car. We always like it in one pedal driving, and we like the creep off. So we're gonna keep the car in the B mode. Right, so we're in efficient mode. Let's keep going. We're not gonna be launching the car. This car is 550 horses, good for about 4.5 seconds, 0 to 100, as opposed to the similarly priced iX60, which is over 600 horses, and we launched it right in the same location. It's good for about 3.7 seconds, so it's much faster. The iX60 is way faster, even though it's an SUV, than the i760. Once there will be an i770M, then that most likely will be faster than the iX60. Okay, so let's keep going. Even though we're in efficient mode, and it says right here on the dashboard, in case you're confused which mode you're in, it says right there, efficient. But it still has a very good acceleration, very sensitive accelerator pedal. Okay, so we're gonna take it on the highway a little bit for you. We finally finished construction on the 401, so we can demonstrate not the self-driving, of course, but the auto steer mode, adaptive cruise with auto steer mode, and automatic lane change, which this car has. So we want to draw your attention to the head-up display here, which has navigation, speed, directions, but in efficient mode it has this little diamond which changes colors according to your driving style, and it's a power band. Like you can see when I press the accelerator, now we're braking, it goes down, and then when we're accelerating it goes up. If your driving style is not very economical, then basically it's gonna turn gray. Right now it's still blue, which means you're driving economically. So it's kind of a economic driving coach for you right there on your head-up display. Of course, when you change modes, it disappears, it's replaced by something else. And if you're navigating, then the navigation shows up, the map with the arrows shows up on your head-up display. It's four-wheel steering, so the passenger in the back may feel a little queasy because of the four-wheel steering, which, by the way, also helps in parking in tight spots. So we posted many pictures of the tight spots that we were able to park in with this four-wheel steering, which we would never be able to do without it. So it's kind of a neat feature for parking, but also during driving when you're changing lanes, it does it much quicker, because when you're at highway speeds, the rear wheels turn in the same direction as the front wheels. When you're parking, they turn in the opposite direction. Okay, so let's accelerate to the highway speeds. We're gonna set the highway speed right here. We're already in adaptive cruise with auto steer. You can see the auto steer green steering wheel is on the head-up display. Also here on the main dashboard. Auto lane change. So we're gonna change it manually now. And because there's cars behind us, we're gonna accelerate a little bit so that we're not being passed by semi-trucks. So right now, and basically the prompts, you cannot, you have to touch the steering wheel at all times, because the car knows it'll prompt you. It's gonna send you all kinds of warnings, flashing lights, sounds, etc., etc. So you have to keep your hands on the wheel. Let's initiate automatic lane change. There we go, just a tap. And it does so very quickly, quicker than I would naturally do it. So I'm not sure if there's a way to adjust it. We try and play around with the settings. There's 3 different settings. They're all pretty quick. So let's do one more. Let's go into the middle lane. Little tap. Yeah, much quicker lane change than what I'm normally doing myself. I do them much more smoothly. So it's a matter of getting used to, I guess. The adaptive cruise is very sensitive. The one thing I have to remark about this adaptive cruise, there's no quick way to adjust the distance from the car in front of you. Even in our i3, the steering wheel here on the left has an adjustment plus minus for the distance from the car in front of you. Here, you actually have to play around with the menus to be able to adjust the distance from the car in front of you. So, and there's space. You can look right here on the wheel. There's space for a couple of more buttons to be able to do so, and that's the best way to do it. You don't want to be playing with the menu or using verbal commands to change the distance from the car in front of you. And other than that, the car is phenomenal. I mean, honestly, no need for any more power than the existing 540 horsepower here. It's a super comfortable highway cruiser, way more space in the back than Audi e-tron GT or Taycan or even EQS. So it's a much more comfortable car with way more space than those cars. A Tesla Model S, it's still bigger than that, because Tesla Model S is the EQE size or Mercedes E-Class size. So this is a much more spacious car than the Model S, which it could be compared against because of the price range. So again, this car starts at $147,000, and then as equipped, this press car is almost $200,000, $195,000 with all the extra options. As you know, the press cars are always stuffed with all kinds of maximum amount of extra options. So the winter range, because we tested it in the winter temperatures of around -5, using the efficiency mode, the highway consumption was between 26 and 27 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which gives this car just over 400 kilometer range. In sport mode, I tried to kind of push it as much as I could, and then the car was using over 30, and then the range would drop well below the 400 kilometer range. The 400 kilometer range in the winter compared to, for example, 280 kilometer range in our Audi e-tron, which only has a slightly smaller battery. So this is 110 kilowatt hours usable versus 90 usable in our Audi e-tron. So yes, there is a difference of 20 kilowatt hours, which is quite a bit. But so this car has over 400 kilometer range versus a lot of other EVs, including luxury SUVs that have under 300 in winter conditions. So this is pretty good. Not as good as the EQS. EQS will have even more range, mainly due to the fact that of the aerodynamics. The shape of the EQS is way more aerodynamic, but the compromise there is the back space, and the car sits lower. This car sits higher, it's bigger, much more comfortable. So it depends really what you need. If you want comfort, you would choose this car. If you want efficiency and longer range, you may go for the EQS. EQS has an opening sunroof, which we love. This car has a fixed glass roof, but the rear seat entertainment is, there can be nothing that can be compared with this car's you know, the lounge seat and the large screen in the back, the entertainment. So it's an amazing luxury highway cruiser. I wouldn't mind taking this car on a cross-country trip from Vancouver to Halifax. One of those days, perhaps BMW will grant us that wish one day soon, so we can do it. This would be the best car to do it in, as long as the charging network, the fast charging network, Petro-Canada or others, will be in working condition and much more reliable than what it is right now. By the way, there's a base Lightning right there next to us. So this is the regular XLT. You can tell because there's no red unibrow in the back. So this is the base Lightning that you see here. Yeah, there's more and more of those around. There's quite a few. There's a few in our neighborhood as well. They are quite popular. And the range in the winter of that one is down to about 230 kilometers. In the summer, it's only about 300 kilometers. So to come back to our beautiful...
Camera ahead.
Sorry, that's our Waze talking, warning us against other things. We're going to turn back. And so we highly recommend this car if you have a chance to test drive it before you decide on a Mercedes EQS or a Tesla Model S or Porsche Taycan or Audi e-tron GT. They are different animals. Those are sports cars, especially the Taycan and Audi e-tron GT. They are much more compact, much smaller, not as much room inside, but they are faster. And they have more range because of their shape. This car has a decent range, but it's just much more comfortable. It's larger inside. So that's about it from our review. If you have any questions regarding this car or our experience with the highway driving or the various charging experiences with this car, do not hesitate to comment under this video. And as usual, do not forget to press the subscribe button on our channel to be notified when the new video comes out. And we have lots more exciting electric cars and plug-in hybrid cars coming up for review in the next little while. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you at the next review.